Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. In the spotlight today is the textile sector, which has been placed firmly at the center of India's growth strategy in the Union Budget 2026-27. Recognized as one of the largest employment generating industries, textiles are now being positioned as a key driver of manufacturing expansion, exports, rural livelihoods and sustainable production. This year's budget outlines a comprehensive push across the entire textile value chain, from fibre and yarn to apparel, handicrafts, also high-end technical textiles. Major announcements include an integrated program for the textile sector, support for man-made fibres and new age materials, modernization of traditional clusters, also setting up of mega textile parks to enable scale and global competitiveness. Besides, there is also a strong focus on MSMEs and artisans, with improved access to credit, cluster infrastructure support and expanded skilling under Samarth 2.0. Sustainability also features prominently, with the significant measures aimed at aligning Indian textile manufacturing with emerging global environmental standards. All of this comes at a time when India is looking to expand its footprint in global textile value chains and significantly scale up exports in the next coming years. So how far can these budget measures transform this key sector? How will they help India move up the value chain and compete more effectively in the global markets? Also, what will this mean for the jobs, investment and industry growth? We'll explore these questions with two distinguished experts in the sector. I'm pleased to welcome on the program Dr. Siddharth Rajgopal. He is Executive Director, the Cotton Textiles Export Promotion Council, joining us from Mumbai. Mr. Rajgopal, thank you for joining us on the program. It's an honor to have you join us to talk about the growth of this sector and how the Union Budget gives a fillip to the progress and expansion of this sector as well. Also joining us is Mr. R.K. Vij, National President, Textile Association of India. He's also the Secretary General of Polyester Textile Apparel Industry Association. Mr. Vij, glad to have you with us on this telecast as well. So the first question to both of you, I'll put it across to you, Dr. Rajgopal first. Given how the Union Budget 2026-27 has placed textiles at the center of India's growth strategy, do you see it as a major turning point in how the sector is being positioned within India's manufacturing, but also the larger export vision?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you said it right. The budget was put this focus entirely in a way on the textile sector for growth, jobs and for sustainability initiatives. And I think it's been one of the centerpieces of this budget. And I really am thankful to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Finance Minister and also the Textile Ministry, which has also been pushing this, that they have been able to, realize that the textile industry, which is the second largest employment provider in the country after agriculture, contributes about 9% of the employment, the workforce, and is also a major foreign exchange earner, as it is almost $37 billion. We have a share of about 4% in world trade, and we are the sixth largest suppliers of textile and clothing. And therefore, we have a huge presence. I mean, textiles is not new to India. As we would know, it's our legacy industry. We have dealt with it for historical years. It has a civilizational context, and therefore, as traditional textiles moves towards the modernization, the budget has really recognized this entire spectrum in which the textile industry in India has been placed. So therefore, as we move from the traditional skill to the modern technology, we have not lost sight of the traditional skills. We have in fact taken them into account, and the schemes that have been announced, for instance, the National Handloom and Handicraft program, or let us say the Textile Eco Initiative, they're all trying to give an impetus and a sort of a holistic framework to the growth of the textile industry, right from the fiber stage to the fashion stage. So I think this is one of the historic budgets, which in fact has come at an opportune time as India signs the FTAs. And as you would know, we have done the Indo-UK FTA, we have just signed the Indo-EU FTA, and the news about the bilateral deal with the United States, where we are getting 18% tariffs, which is much better than our competitors. I mean, we are in what I would call, entering the Goldilocks phase of the textile industry. In fact, this is where we are, and I think we have a lot to look forward to in the future. And I think there has been the right policy decision in our view, at the right time. So I think we can look forward to a good growth in the coming years, not only in the export, but also on the domestic side. Thank you.
Certainly, the kind of progress and expansion that this sector has seen, most importantly also the kind of thrust that the budget for the next fiscal has placed on this sector indicates how important this sector is going to be, especially in context of our Viksit Bharat vision. I'll come back to you and understand how these measures will also help India position itself better in the global value chain system. Let me go across to Mr. Wij. Mr. Wij, the budget gives a strong push for scale and modern manufacturing through the mega textile parks. In fact, the finance minister, if you would recall, she said these were aimed at building integrated large-scale manufacturing ecosystems in the country. So from an industry body perspective, how critical do you think this move is going to be in helping the Indian manufacturers of course, expand and strengthen their own capabilities, but also compete with countries that are already operating at scale?
This is the very right time the budget has come, and because, of course, after August 28th, when the Trump had put up the tariff of 50%, but government of textile, we are thankful to Honorable Prime Minister, Finance Minister Giriraj ji and Piyush Goyal ji, that they have taken few steps in last 6 and 8 months. They have made the raw material at international prices. They have refined the GST, reduced to 5%, and they have come up with the PLI scheme and the PM Mitra Park. So based on that, because the textile after agriculture is giving the largest employment, so this time the budget will help us. So this is the first time I think our respected finance minister has taken the textile, means they will grow natural fiber, man-made fiber and new age fiber. So in natural fiber, mostly this cotton is coming, and man-made fiber, polyester, other material is coming, and new age fiber is banana fiber, bamboo fiber, milkweed fiber. This is coming. So whenever this all things will grow, and we will be sufficient to supply to the downstream industry. So this is one point. And second point in the budget has been taken for that the growth of MSMEs, because this in textile, the major role is of MSMEs, and they give the jobs also, and they work also. So for MSMEs, they have allocated about 10,000 crores of rupees for MSMEs. They have done they will get the credit facilities. They will, whenever they will buy the purchase raw material, banks will help. In export also, they will get the benefit. So another benefits it is giving in this budget is that when you will import or export, earlier, suppose if we are importing and then exporting, it was the 6-month time was there, which was, now they have extended to 1 year, so that the MSMEs exporter will get the time to export their finished product. And another thing, some of the industry which are in export oriented zones are there, so they will get one-time benefit to export their inventory based on their export quantity in the Indian market. So they will get the liquidity. These are the things they have done for MSMEs. This is the main point is there, that if MSMEs will grow, we will get the jobs. And another thing, MSMEs, they have done the ease of doing business. When suppose if you employ contract labor, then the TDS they have reduced to 1%. This is another ease of doing business is there. So another thing, biogas duty they have reduced. These are the few decisions the government has taken. This is very helpful in the budget, and this budget has been shown in this time.
Okay. So you covered a lot of ground on some of the measures that have been undertaken in recent years to expedite the progress in the sector. But Dr. Rajgopal, coming to the biggest announcement, which was that of the textile parks, the integrated parks, with an aim to help India move beyond just being a yarn and fabric supplier to perhaps becoming a much more stronger exporter of value-added products. But how will this be implemented to achieve the desired results?
I think the textile park and this particular one which has been announced, I'm sure will be different from the parks, 7 earlier parks which have been announced. This is, of course, in my own view, it's in challenge mode, which means that it has to be something totally different and is willing to address some of the issues which are coming up in our, in our manufacturing. So an integrated textile park which has the fiber up to the manufactured finished goods are available at one location, and the ancillary industry to support it is also available. And there is a model where the parks are become hubs of manufacturing, and the ancillary industry grows around the park. So therefore, this will address not only the current requirements in the sense of the current fibers and the current manufacturing practices, but it is going to be something beyond that. And our own assessment is that investment in new fibers, large plants for fiber manufacturing, for some of our man-made fiber manufacturing, which is where the business is going, because we have almost become market leaders in cotton, and cotton has limitations of area and production. Therefore, the natural shift has to be in the man-made fiber, where the world trade is also taking place in a large measure. So these parks which will come are going to be aggressive parks in the sense that it will be set up in a short time. They will be plug and play model, and they will try to attract very large investments. And we see investment coming in new age fibers. We see investment coming in even scaling up our existing man-made fiber base and the kind of fibers required for technical textiles, aramides and so many other glass fibers. These are all coming at the moment, the imported. But then we will have a situation where we already know of companies who are investing in some of these new age fibers, and they are really working towards diversifying the production base, diversifying our export base. And once you have good quality fibers, scale of production, you will be in a position to match with the requirements of the world. India is very well known in the textile industry. Indian technicians are very well known around the world. We have one of the most qualified, skilled labor available in this country. Education in technical aspects of textile production is very strong in India. And now with the requirements of the world in terms of new fibers, new applications, and also new technology. For instance, use of artificial intelligence and other forms of modern technology will come into play. So I presume the parks which are now being envisaged are going to be a very important contribution to becoming world class in the manufacturing.
I'll discuss further on how technology and modernization are being looked at. But since you mentioned about the investment and the investor confidence, that takes me to the question on the announcement that the finance minister made about the 10,000 crore SME growth fund, which he said aims to create champion SMEs. What kind of textile enterprises will emerge as global players with this kind of support that the government will provide? Dr. Rajgopal?
No, I think, again, coming to the SME, the idea of champion SMEs is something we are trying to ensure that with the SMEs being the backbone of our production. So therefore that you create some kind of an excellence in that field. So therefore, by 10,000 crore credit is an important, because one of the key issues in MSMEs is the fact that the credit is not available on time and they face various challenges. So if there is an opportunity to scale up as we saw in the definition of the small and medium, because now the definition of small, medium, and has also been sort of revised, and in a way encourages people to scale. And I'm sure as we go forward, these industries, SMEs, are largely involved in multiple activities. They're not only in merely, what shall I say, seaming, provide stitching or, back end support, but they are actually into manufacturing product lines which are required in smaller quantities, let us say. And they're also becoming, in a way, alliance partners with larger sectors. And we know that a lot of large companies have got SMEs who are running, in terms of doing the back end work of weaving, or even for that matter some kind of processing, and even some of the other things like ancillary areas, and also the requirements of the supporting, like buttons, zips, and etc., all that which goes into the manufacturing of the ecosystem. So this is a very important, because you need to take care of the SMEs, and SMEs are the backbone, as I said, but their credit needs, timely payments are the key critical issues which are there and which are also getting addressed. And this will give you a fillip to the SMEs also to sort of try and, what shall I say, try and expand their manufacturing base, try and get in new technology, and try and also look at newer dimensions of the textile product manufacturing. So they'll be able to diversify, and some of them even may venture into, building their own small brands, local brands. They could be worth something. Therefore, there'll be an incentive for them to sort of scale up, modernize, diversify, and also stand some kind of a brand building activity, so that some kind of what shall I say, differentiation takes place from the general products that are being. So they get an opportunity to move in that direction. So that is a very good thing, considering the fact that there are so many items of textiles which can be produced. I mean, in fact, we have always argued that it's like a modular framework where so many parts are there, and all those parts could be combined to produce n number of items. So that flexibility the SMEs have, and this will be a great fillip to them to try and get this, try to design product lines, try to enter into new product lines, try to combine the, the number of, what shall I say, parts which are available into, something like holes which will be basically, garments and finished products. Okay. So therefore, that is a great opportunity. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Vij, so the kind of holistic approach that is being adopted, does that create confidence needed for the large-scale private investment that may be required to achieve these desired objectives? Also, based on what Dr. Rajgopal said, I would like your perspective. From the domestic industry perspective, will improved credit access and cluster infrastructure, which this budget focuses upon, help the smaller units in the textile industry have the opportunity to upgrade their technology, become more globally competitive? So the approach is being given by the government, but the results and the performance has to be given by these smaller units which are operating within the ecosystem.
As Rajgopalji said that this time in the budget, government has allocated 1,500 crores for the nearly announcement for the new integrated park. So in that integrated park, why the China is growing? The China is growing that they are the clusters, right from raw material to finished goods and to the transportation. All are at the same area are there. Workers live there. So the thought of government is that we also improve the 2-tier, 3-tier clusters, old clusters also. So when mega textile park, if a garmenter will get the raw material there, yarns there, fabric there, processing there, and the dispatch will be there. So our quality will increase, our cost of production will decrease. So we will be very much competitive now the same, we will get the professional facilities also there in that integrated park. Technical textile will be there. Another thing that this government has already done, because these PM Mitra Park may have taken by 2030 that the present domestic market of $157 billion and export of $37 billion to touch by 2030 $100 billion export and domestic to $250 billion. Now we have everything. So, but these mega parks should come as earliest as possible. And I also want to that, of course, because the world over MMF fiber is growing. A world over 70 to 75% MMF and rest is the natural fiber. In India is still 50-50 is there. So we request to the government that the raw material, PTA, MEG, cotton, viscose, they all should be available at the international prices. And one more for the man-made fiber. Of course, the government has removed the inverted duty structure at the downstream, but over for man-made fiber, polyester, the raw material is PTA and MEG, which is 80 to 90% is used only for the textile, which is at 18%, and fiber filament, all inverted duty structure is there. So this is the working capital.
That's
For a 1,000 ton per day capacity, 40 crore of working capital is blocked. Another thing, suppose if we have to put the bigger corporate factories, so if we have to put a factory of 1,000 metric ton, so 200 crore of our extra cost comes, which remains in the our books. So we if all these things, these are the one or two very here the government is not to lose anything, that we are depositing and we are taking man-made fiber.
Okay,
So
okay.
these are the things if government can take, and we are hopeful that government will take this also.
Okay, coming to the other aspect, Dr. Rajgopal, of jobs and skills, the textile sector is already the second largest employment generator in the country after agriculture. But given the strong push that we've seen towards strengthening the textile sector from the government, what kind of opportunities will be created for the rural youth, also the women who are employed in the textile sector?
No, it's a good question. You see, after all, this is one of the most labor-intensive sectors in the country. And you're right, 45 million jobs are already there. Now, how do you get the youth to get, to get involved with the textile industry? The mere fact that investments will take place with a good ecosystem which has been announced. The tax ecosystem is another important initiative. Therefore, there will be the current brownfield projects will expand, and it will also invite greenfield projects. When the greenfield projects come, especially the parks are established, you will easily get the employment that will be offered in that particular area. And I can see good growth in the employment prospects for this sector, because what is going to happen is, while we have the traditional handloom and handicraft sector where millions of artisans and weavers are already working, and they're also being modernized by various methods, including marketing opportunities where you're able to link them up with the world markets. What here, if new technology comes in, if new product lines come in, you will have the opportunity for your own youth who are also being trained in our ITIs and textile institutes to work on modern machines. So when you work with modern technology and modern machine, your productivity goes up, and it will also attract some of the young people for the jobs. So I can see the growth in the textile sector for employment. Especially if we go into the tier 2 cities, the investments will take not necessarily in tier 1, but it will have to be go into tier 2, tier 3. As we are seeing the state government and the policies that they've announced, they have been able to attract a lot of these investments. So you will have new investment leading to higher employment opportunity. This, mind you, the demand side is addressed through our FTAs. That our UK FTA and the amount of, I can tell you the amount of excitement with the Indo-EU FTA has generated not only among big companies, but under the SMEs. In fact, we are in touch with our buyers across the world and different fairs, exhibitions. The amount of excitement that the buyers are having, that they will now get an opportunity to, buy from India. That would mean that the production should increase, more factories should come up, capacity building will increase, and therefore both the UK FTA, the EU FTA recently, and now the bilateral agreement, which hopefully will pan out the way it has come out with 18% tariffs. Our tariffs are most competitive compared with our competitors.
Yes.
We had earlier 50%, which was much higher, but now 18% puts us in a very competitive block. In fact, our other competitors are much more than us in this US market. And US market, mind you, is the largest consuming market in the world. And all our exporters are absolutely excited about the opportunity. The moment this comes into play, the notifications are issued, you will find that our exports will really thrust. Because when export increases because of demand, then you have a capacity to try and the pull of the employment also increases. So you need more hands when new factories are set up. And I can tell you that once these things are in place, in the next 3 years, or 2 to 3 years, because things will settle down, our exports are going to really from about $37 billion
Absolutely.
now.
Given how these measures have been announced, given how there's been the thrust, much needed thrust to the sector from the government, if implemented effectively, all of these policy measures, also the partnerships, the trade deals that we've entered with countries, we should be able to see that visible change in India's textile sector in the next 3 to 4 years, and contributing significantly not just to domestic growth, but as our Viksit Bharat vision lays out, placing India more firmly in the global value chain system. With that, we'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of Perspective. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us with your views and perspective. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear you out about the progress and the growth that this sector has seen, but also the potential that it has and the kind of policy measures that have been announced to harness this potential. To you, viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.